Hi everyone, I'm back with another video about Season 4. I've played the PTR a lot and here's a quite interesting build that I've made on the PTR, which is the GoD DH Barb. So if you have played Diablo 3 in the last few years, then you'll certainly know the GoD DH is probably the most popular build out there in Diablo 3 these days. And it works that way that it's a Demon Hunter build and you spin with an ability called Strafe, which works a bit like a ranged whirlwind basically for the barb. And it shoots arrows all around you at enemies and everything dies. Well, and as you can see here, that's exactly what's going on with this Barbarian. So it's kind of funny to play this, and this is enabled by the new uber unique Tyrael Smite. So this is this item here that now drops as well from Andariel and Duriel, and like actually all the other bosses, they all have a chance to drop Ubers now. And you can craft it from establishing 4 Ubers for the 4 sparks, basically. Right now, this number is bugged, so it doesn't show the actual number, but it does shoot out basically a bit like the artillery shrines at all times whenever you attack. So you see this here, for example, when you whirlwind, when you, with a artillery shrine, you always shoot out these projectiles, or when you use another ability, then there's like these other, like, you know, kind of like straight projectiles you see here, they're flying forwards. So depending on which ability you use, certain other projectiles fire out. Now, it's not as powerful as an artillery shrine. That was kind of important to mention. Artillery shrine usually just decimates everything, like one shot pretty much. But you can scale this damage. And the Barbarian does this probably better than anyone else, on top of having whirlwind to actually trigger it frequently all the time. So what you see here, you can actually improve the tick frequency of this by spamming right click instead of holding right click. So I tried that as well, but it was very uncomfortable, and I didn't want to use like macros or something like that. But technically that is possible. But also Barbarians have a lot of like very basic generic damage multipliers. There's unconstrained, which is these like berserking modifiers basically. So we have that. This is basically straight up double damage when you have this node here, and then you have damage while berserking, and you have, you know, other kind of like generic damage increases usually compared to other classes where you either scale skills specifically, or you maybe have like very conditional effects from your glyphs, from your paragon boards, and so on. So this is why I tried it on a barb, and it actually worked pretty well here, as you can see. So it's kind of funny. And the damage numbers are not really like high enough to go anywhere in like end game content or so, but as kind of like a chill open world farming build, as you can see here, for example, right now, yeah, it actually kind of works. So here's a real artillery shrine, by the way. So you can kind of see the way bigger numbers. So now I'm probably gonna hit for like millions or something like that. I'm not sure exactly about these numbers, but either way, the Tyrael Smite is just not that good to go into dungeons or the pit and really have any success with. It's mostly just kind of like some little bit of extra chip damage in those cases, but it's good enough for Helltide to just kind of decimate everything on its own. And you can keep running around and just kind of like do your rounds through the Helltide, collect your cinders, and have a really chill time farming something up. So this is something that is like that I'm definitely looking forward to in Season 4. Once I get a Tyrael Smite and I have a barb up and running, I'm definitely gonna probably make a character like this because it's just so relaxing, kind of like just whirl through the zones. And what you see here is also not optimized at all. So you can definitely do probably double or triple this damage or so if you really optimize this. There's just some stuff I threw together really quickly. And I also didn't really have like a good single target solution. I had Kick in the setup here that with a few tweaks can actually be good enough to kind of just like one-shot stuff a little bit. Like if you have like, let's say, an event boss from the Helltide, or there's like the succubus that it can summon, or some of these Hellborn, they're kind of tanky, and Tyrael Smite is somewhat slow there. But everything else just kind of dies anyway, and then you can do the kick, and with kick you can definitely hit like dozens of millions or something. There's like some synergies, for example, Earthstriker's aspect, that makes it so you get a guaranteed overpower, and you can just like swap weapons, for example, with Leap and Whirlwind or something like that. And like this, you can stack this up, and whenever you have an elite, you can just go boom, kick them with a guaranteed overpower or something like that. So there are some of these synergies here, and I'm actually planning to make a full setup for this. I did not actually prepare a planner. This was just, as I mentioned, something I tried out briefly, but it was kind of fun and it works. So this is kind of the main takeaway here. If you're looking forward to something with a Tyrael Smite, you have this at least. Outside of that, yeah, there are not many use cases for this damage effect of this item. However, the stats on it are pretty insane. So maybe I can also talk about this here real quick. So not only does it have this artillery shrine effect, but the stats are actually really the big kicker here, because number one, it has damage reduction, which does not exist really anywhere in Season 4 anymore, at least on legendary items. Damage reduction is exclusive to uniques and to shields on a necromancer. And basically no one really runs shields anyway, besides maybe some minion builds. So in general, damage reduction is a pretty nice stat to have here. And almost more importantly, it has this maximum resistance to all elements. So this means fire, cold, lightning, poison, shadow, see it is here. They usually stack all the way to 70, and with this you can get 75, and then you can start masterworking this thing. And if you go for a triple masterwork crit, you can get times 2.2 the original value. So in this case, you can get 11% maximum all res, even if it's not a greater affix. If it's a greater affix, you can even get to 13.5. So you can get to a total of 83.5 maximum all res, which is basically almost halving the damage taken that you have left, basically. So if you go from 70 to 83, yeah, that's like minus 45% or something like that damage taken. So you have to kind of see this as like a minus 45% elemental damage taken mod, in case you get like the absolute jackpot. But even if you don't, even if you just have a now normal Tyrius Might and you masterwork it maybe like twice or so, which is very realistic, very achievable, then this is still something like a, let's see, 45, like this, yeah, roughly double. You have like roughly 195% of the original, so 10% maximum all res, which still comes out as roughly 33% damage reduction for elemental attacks. So just that alone already makes Tyrius Might a really powerful item, I think. And it has some other nice stats like the extra damage reduction, like the all stats that might be relevant for the Paragon boards, for example. There might be some little perks there. And you have the all rest that just helps you to cap your resistances as well. So overall, Tyrius Might is actually kind of like a nice item, especially defensively, especially if you want to go like really high-end pit pushing or something. If you play hardcore, for example, it's certainly going to be very important to have this for the high-end content, I think, because there's not really many other good chess pieces that can give you an equivalent number of damage, or like damage reduction value, basically, even if you count for like defensive aspects. In some cases, there are some good defensive aspects that can probably outweigh this, but that's not always the case. Either way, this is pretty much it for the showcase of the Tyrius Might and what you can do with it. So this is kind of like the main use case that I found here, besides just taking for the damage reduction that I just explained. But if you're in for some good old-fashioned spin-to-win action and you like God Demon Hunter in Diablo 3, well, then you have this to look forward to. So this is definitely going to be fun to play. And with a fully optimized setup, it's actually going to feel relatively zoomy, I imagine. At least in this outdoor Helltide Whisper content. So let's see. And that's it for this video here. So I hope you enjoyed my little showcase. Wish you good luck and stay tuned for a lot more stuff coming up for Season 4 and in the future. See you guys next time.